Okay, now let's discuss the mistakes to avoid when it comes to insurance at your practice on the phones. And the first one I want to talk about, and this is what a lot of our program is, whether it be our new patient experience, how to present money to people, answering the phones, is not to be like everybody else. Do it differently, guys. Stop doing it the way everybody does it. It's very frustrating because we make a lot of mystery calls, hundreds of them. And pretty much the mistakes you're going to hear throughout this presentation here is the exact mistakes all practices make, literally 100 to some form or fashion, okay? Now, the first situation I want to talk about and the mistakes to avoid is before you have confirmed what the insurance is, before that caller tells you what their insurance is. As an example, maybe you answer the phone and the caller says, I'm calling to see if you take my insurance, okay? So that example right now, you don't know what insurance it is, okay? So this is what you should not do, is what insurance do you have, okay? That is answering the question directly. And there, again, it's not that this is bad, but it's the same way everybody does it, okay? And it gets you into a lot of trouble because what you have to remember, we're going to talk about this in this course, what you have to remember is that why do people want to come see you if you don't take their insurance, okay? So there's certain things that you absolutely cannot say if you have any chance of them actually coming through your doors. Now, the other example right here is, do you take my insurance? Now, that could be any kind of insurance, Blue Cross, name thousands of them out there. And unfortunately, we don't take your insurance. Remember, you're starting it with this negative connotation, okay? We've gone from the previous example to unfortunately, all right? You're just putting that automatic negative tone in there, okay? Unfortunately, we don't take your insurance. And you see how this is building, okay? The first one was don't, which is right there, and unfortunately. So unfortunately, we don't take your insurance, all right? And this all leads us into not beginning with the negative tone and negative connotation, okay? Connotation, remember, we've talked about it before. It's the term that describes the feelings that are generally associated with a word or phrase. I cannot overstate the importance of what that does psychologically to people, okay? The word don't, as an example. I'm curious if you take Blue Cross insurance. We don't take that insurance, okay? Another one, can't, all right? And you've heard these words in some of the other slides as well. I'm curious if you take Blue Cross insurance. We don't take that insurance, so I can't schedule you, okay? You see how this is building, all right? It's building on each other. We don't take that insurance. Sorry, can't schedule you, okay? Definitely not the way to go if you're trying to attract people in and you don't take their insurance. Unfortunately, here's another one. I'm curious if you take Blue Cross insurance. Unfortunately, we don't take that insurance, so I can't schedule you, okay? These are things people say, and think to yourself, how in the world do you get somebody to commit to your business, your practice, when you're saying things like this? It's not possible, okay? It absolutely cannot happen. The other one is no, okay? No, unfortunately, we don't take that insurance, so I can't schedule you. See how all these are building on each other, all right? Won't is another one. I'm curious if you take Blue Cross insurance. No, unfortunately, we won't be able to see you because we don't take that insurance, all right? All mistakes that practices make on a routine, consistent basis, all right? Now, let's look at another one that you should not do, a mistake to avoid. Do not feel as though you must answer a question directly. You've heard me talk about this in other courses, other modules before, all right? An example of what I'm talking about, very simple. I'm curious if you take Blue Cross insurance. Now remember, Blue Cross, underline, substitute whatever insurance there, okay? This is just for example and training purposes. So I'm curious if you take Blue Cross insurance. Receptionist, no, unfortunately we don't. And then you stop talking. Remember, back in control, if you stop, you're losing control, okay? But beyond that, explain to me how that is ever going to get anybody, when you don't take their insurance, to come in and see you, okay? It's not possible. So another one, do not stop talking after answering the question or an inquiry or whatever it may be. Don't stop, okay? Remember that control that we talked about. You got to keep going with the script. Otherwise, you lose control. I'm curious if you take Blue Cross insurance. Receptionist, no, unfortunately, we don't. Now, what's going to happen here, most likely, and I'm sure you guys have seen it throughout your career, is that it's over for you at that point. It's over for your organization. The caller's likely to say, okay, thanks, bye, and they're gone. And then they're calling a competitor, okay, who might do it better than you, and they may convert that patient, because there's absolutely ways to convert these patients onto your schedule even though you don't take their insurance. And this is what this talks about. It's almost guaranteed that your competition is making the mistakes we have discussed in this video, okay? Because this is how basically 100% of practices handle these situations, because they don't have the training that's required in order to not do it this way, okay? So let's make sure that we don't make these mistakes discussed in this video. It's so very important that you do it differently, and that's what we're about to get into now.